What's up, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is The Rift, live Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm on the run from the FBI and their lovers. Candace Owens just released something pretty shocking and damning. She said, I have informed people in the federal government and the White House of the France and Israeli assassination plot, and I'm willing to provide full details as well as the name of the assassins and international accounts in France and Canada through which money was exchanged. Beyond that, I have shared more information with the public regarding the Brigitte story I was investigating at the time of Charlie's assassination. This is all available on my Instagram stories. Thank you all for reaching out and praying for my family. Now, while everybody seems to be talking about the big reveals that show that, maybe a lot of people are foreign actors in our country and are not actually accounts in America, other people are talking about the young girl who was set on fire. Well, guys, this is America. White girls getting set on fire by black people, Pakistanis undermining our system. That's called a Tuesday. But we're going into a stage now where we are going to be assassinating people. And yes, Charlie Kirk was barely assassinated just 2 months ago, and it seems we've already forgotten. My name is Elijah Schaffer. It is approximately 7:09 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. We have a huge show for you guys, including Lily Gaddis is on for the first segment, and Will Sexton, who's one of the new talents here at Rift. Let's start the show. Welcome back. I'm Elijah Schaffer, and I'm joining you today live from my studio somewhere on planet Earth, as my house was doxxed, people might know, criminally doxxed due to a $5 million lawsuit from the FBI director's girlfriend. And this definitely is just a civil suit that doesn't involve the government, even though she had the Department of Homeland Security tweet out that I'm a liar. The assistant secretary, the actual secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, try to defame me. And then you go, well, how's that related to Alexis? Well, she retweeted it, showing collusion between Alexis and the federal government in undermining and destroying my reputation. Joining me to talk about these stories today and so much more is Lily Gaddis, who recently herself has just come under a lot of scrutiny. She's being attacked financially through censorship. Lily, welcome to the show.
What's up, Elijah? Glad to be back. While you're on the run, maybe I will be on the run soon. Who knows? They're really out to get us.
Yes, they absolutely are. And also joining us, Will Sexton, known as William. He's a rising star on Instagram, joining us, also rising on X. And he has a new show coming out that we're all very excited about. Will, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me all right? Am I coming in all right?
Turn up your mic a little bit, probably.
Oh, a little bit? Yeah, sorry. I just moved. I'm setting up my new little studio getup. So everything's a little bit new for me in terms of going live remote, but thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to the show.
All right, shout out to everybody who's there. You also might want to center yourself just a little bit because we're getting a little feedback as well from your. I'm going to mute you for a second here. We're getting a little feedback in your mic here, but listen, guys, we got to talk about this. So you guys are probably familiar with this. Don't worry, Lily, it's not you. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on here, particularly about this case going on with Candace Owens. Now, if you're joining us today from YouTube, from Rumble, shout out to you guys who are there. This is a holiday season. Numbers are low. People are not watching. The attacks are out, but all of our lives are fully okay right now. And I want to bring this up that I think is really interesting. I'm actually make this a little bit smaller. So Candace Owens, if I can go to her page here, she had just announced something very, very dark and sadistic that was happening to her. In fact, she actually was being targeted by somebody in a high-ranking official. She said this: 2 days ago, I was contacted by high-ranking employee of the French government. She says, determining this person's position and proximity to the French couple, I have deemed the information they gave me to be credible. It's enough to share publicly in the event that something happens. In short, this person claims that Macrons have executed upon and paid for my assassination. Okay, claim number one, huge, all right? So she's saying that right after Charlie Kirk was murdered, and the FBI several months before this foiled a plot from a Muslim extremist, from my understanding, to murder her. She says, yes, you've read that correctly. More specifically, that the green light was given to a small team in the National Gendarmerie, I don't know how to say it, Gendarmerie Intervention Group. Who knows, guys? I am told that there is one Israeli that is on this assassination, as there always is, and the squad plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are further that there is that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, the person claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion's 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement. This is deadly serious, by the way. Journalist Xavier Possard life is also at risk. The head of the state of France apparently wants us both dead and has authorized professional units to carry this out. Now, if you're watching this, by the way, on if you're one of our blind viewers, as I call it, listening on podcasts, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, you would know this is from her X account. So this is written by Candace. She said, I ask that every person retweet and share this. I do not know who in the American government can be trusted since the source claims our leaders are aware. But I have more specific information, which is definitively verifiable. Should they care about to reach out to me, to the brave official in France who did this because they were so moved by the evil of Charlie's public execution to risk their own life. May God bless you. Truly, all will be revealed. Now, obviously, we have a lot to talk about that, but one of the things I want to mention before we jump into that is something extremely important. Guys, don't forget, we are sponsored by Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee is a small, humble, roasted, full bean coffee. Now, many of you guys know I don't like a lot of things in my life black. Okay. I don't like my communities. I don't like my neighbors. I'm just kidding. Okay. But I don't like a lot of things, but I do love coffee with a little bit of creamer, a little bit of milk, whatever it is you like in there. I love how sweet it tastes. And one of the important parts about this Blackout Coffee is batch roasted. They're not like Black Rifle Coffee where they claim to support our values, but they don't actually do. So this company full-fledged came into us and they're like, bro, we want to support your show. Now here we got a problem. Apparently people are not buying the coffee. The people that have bought it have said it's amazing, but some people are like, yeah, I already buy coffee from somewhere. So we've got a couple days left. Unless we reach the minimum, they're like, look, we want to support you. We're going to support you as long as we can, but people have to buy the coffee. So if you haven't already, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, grab yourself a bag of this. And we got to sell like 20 more bags by the end of the week. So it's 100 bags total to keep the sponsorship. They're willing to come on. By the way, I can hook you up, Lily. There's a bunch of sponsors I'm going to help get you. We'll talk about your cancellation, the attempt to silence you. And one thing that I'm good at is people with large audiences like yourself. I can get you people easily, and Will knows I'm working on getting him sponsors. People without a huge audience yet, I can work on that, but it's it's okay, Will. You're in my audience are not as big as Lily's, but it's not the size that counts. It's how you use the audience, they say. But Blackout Coffee is delicious. It's smooth. It's creamy. I like their light roast. Check it out at blackoutcoffee.com/rift, BLACKOUTCOFFEE.com/RFT. Use promo code RIFT for 20% off. You can also get the coffee pods if you use a Keurig. However, I'm not a filthy animal. I use a Breville espresso maker. Yes, it's a little gay. It's a little fancy, but I got to grind my own beans. I literally have Nala Ray spits and I purify her spit into a beautiful water that's purified virgin porn star water. And that's how I make my coffee. Michael Knowles was the one who gave me the tip. Check it out today at blackoutcoffee.com/rift. Coffee does not include Nala Ray spit nor the purification system. Must reach out to Daily Wire for more details. All right, joining me here today, by the way, Will, you might need to put in headphones. I think that's what the issue is. We're just getting the mic into your microphone. That's kind of what it is there. Let's talk about this. All right, Lily, I want to go to you. So we have this claim by Candace, and like there's a lot of controversy here. People are basically saying that she's full of shit. That's kind of like the whole mentality. They're like, she's just lying. She's looking for clicks. I feel like though Candace, did have a couple crazy claims in her life, as we all have. There's no reason for me to doubt this, but maybe I'm wrong because everyone's telling me that I'm stupid for believing her. I mean, we're going to look at the details, but it looks like evidence corroborates that there is an attempted assassination on her. What do you think?
I mean, here's the thing. The amount of a lie that this would be pretty stupid. She's not dumb. She has a legal team. If you make up a lie like this, then she could face legal, repercussions from, I don't know, the French government, because now she's involving them. I think it's a little bit more believable as well, just because of the amount of reach she has. She's one of the biggest podcasters in the world at this point. She gets millions of views on her videos every day that she posts them. So she's got a massive reach. So if she's exposing certain things about high-ranking government officials or members of the royal family, or royal, they're not royal, presidents. I don't know about foreign politics, obviously. But if she's exposing that, to that big of an audience, I think she does, pose a significant risk. And then there's the Jewish element as well. She's obviously been very critical of Israel, of Zionism, etc. So when you go down that route with that big of a platform, obviously you're kind of putting yourself in the way of harm. And we know what these people specialize in. They're excellent at bribing people and getting rid of people that they don't like. Don't sue me for that, for $5 million.
Yeah, I know. Will, do you have any headphones, like AirPods or anything you can put in?
I'm plugged into headphones right now. I just literally just have them in my lap.
Can you get this? Yeah, can you get the sound from the computer into the headphones? Because I think we are. Your computer audio is going into your microphone.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was saying.
You know what? I think I know what to do.
I'm gonna take you off for a second. Bring you right back. Give me a moment. So basically, what we're coming down to. This is what I noticed. Her story actually got reported by quite a few people, right? AF Post brought this up specifically. He said that Candace Owens alleges the French government official told her Macron's government had authorized and formalized plans for assassination. I'm starting to see a suspicious backup here where anytime someone who's anti-Israel, anybody who is, questioning the LGBTQ movement, and I'm not talking about like transgender movement. I'm talking about the global homo agenda, the actual universal, background. The same people that are trying to cancel me, the same people that are trying to cancel you, all try to what? They don't prove us wrong. Yeah. They try to discredit our character. And I've always told everybody who watches the show that when they tell you that you're crazy or you're stupid, then you usually know that you're on the money. Because if they had evidence that you were wrong, they would just present it and be like, hey, you're categorically false. But with Candace, everyone's trying to say, look, she's nuts. She dreamed about Charlie Kirk saying someone assassinated her. There's all of this personal character plot. She used to be a leftist. And nobody's saying, number one, that it's false, which you could say, well, that's hard to disprove. But two, no one's saying that this is unbelievable. Because we find out, which we didn't know, that the Israelis and the French government have a long history of being busted in failed assassination attempts. And that I'm shocked to find out about this. I didn't know. I just found out last week that Israel is involved in nefarious international, violent plots. I just thought they were our greatest ally. But now I'm finding out France, people think that France are a bunch of pussies. And I think people don't understand. They have some of the most elite military units. Like, do you know how France is wealthy? It's because they control through violence resources in Africa, in Northern Africa and Eastern Africa. Like, they are not a peaceful nation. This switch to democracy that we saw internationally where, foreign governments, in Africa, people took control of the countries. This was all just a facade. If you think that the royal family isn't still profiting off of, the ports and the trade and the resources in the UK, if you don't think that the Macrons, this is an elite family hand-selected to run the nation, you don't know what's going on. And I know Candace personally. I texted her. I've been talking to her the last couple of days, and she was not grifting. She was dead serious, like, hey, but there's nothing I basically got that from her. It's like, look, they got Charlie. If they're going to kill me, it's going to happen. The best thing I can do is pray and try to at least expose it so that they get scared to do it. I believe her, and it's not just because I support her views. I think she's telling the truth.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, here's the thing. People were calling Alex Jones crazy. They were saying, oh, his conspiracies, he's a kook, he's a crank. But, at some point, it seems like the kooks and the cranks continually to be proven correct. So at some point, I agree with basically everything she says. She's on the money, regardless of what you think is the motivator behind that. I don't think she's ill-intentioned. I don't think she's like a federal asset or anything. So I think she is on our side genuinely. And like I said, I just don't think making up a lie this immense that involves very powerful people would be a smart move. And I don't think she's stupid enough to do that. So I personally agree with it. And, just even what we've seen with this mass awakening that's going on, that's happened in the last 2 years, especially the last year, we can't expect them to allow us to have found the truth and wake up in mass and then not do anything about it. So the Charlie Kirk thing, all of this is connected, even if it wasn't, I'm not saying Israel took him out. There's not a ton of evidence about that. But the point is it's escalating. And voices are actively being shut down. I think we're seeing the censorship starting to come back. Like that was temporarily paused and the truth got out. But I think they're going to actively start really, really doubling down and attacking these people. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it doesn't surprise me either. And I kind of want to bring something up here. So Ryan Mata, he's been doing a really good job. He has a new film out that's coming out. But he said this, check this out. If you want to know how you can help in this situation, watch.
To do really cool things like call for every American citizen to stand up right now, create a video just like I'm doing, demanding that Tulsi Gabbard, she's the United States Director of National Intelligence. She has the power and the authority to investigate anyone and anywhere. And right now we have credible intel that the president of France, President Macron, has placed a hit on Candace Owens' head and already paid for the assassination and deployed the intelligence assets that are going to assassinate them, one of which being an Israeli asset. So if you guys want to help me save Candace's life, I think we need to call on Tulsi Gabbard to step up. She's putting out a press statement publicly demanding answers and demanding that President Trump open an investigation into the assassination attempt on Candace Owens' life. What is our FBI director doing? This is big. I mean, this is the president of a foreign leader who's already bought and paid a hit squad, an assassination team that has been deployed, most likely that is operating on USA soil right now, looking for an opportunity to assassinate Candace Owens. So I hope all of you guys will pull out your phones, record a video.
Yeah, and I guess that's what we're doing. But like, I think we're past the point now when we talk about this issue. Now, I want to know in the chats, one's in the chat if you think that this is a legit claim. Two's in the chat if you think it's false. I'm going to say this to Candace, and I want to say this clearly and effectively. Candace Owens does not have a financial benefit to lie about these things. Not that Lily or I would lie. I'm under threat for $5 million. I don't have that $5 million. Lily has been, I don't, did you talk about what happened on YouTube publicly, or are we not mentioning
Not right now.
Okay. So I won't mention anything, but Lily's under attack. They're at least coming after Lily. And we can at least effectively say that. And I've always said they come after your money first, but Candace is part of a trust fund. She is part of her husband. They own GB News. Like, they already have popularity, they already have royalty, they already have pedigree, and they already have hundreds of millions of dollars. She can't go up. She can only tell the truth. And what's happening is when someone's that powerful, when someone is that effective as Candace Owens has become, she is more popular than all of the MSNBC nightly shows combined. I do believe, and I said this when Charlie was murdered, they will kill more of us. And they ask who they is. At this point, it's not just the Jews. It's not always Israel, but almost every time Israel is 100% involved. Will, I don't know if you agree with that, but you kind of, whenever you lift up a rock and there's something sketchy happening, you can almost guarantee that Israeli intelligence is there, along with the Five Eyes, New Zealand, Australia, United States, Canada, the UK, and we'll add France and Germany. And those seven, I think that is the G7, is it not? I don't know, something like that. But the G7, the Five Eyes, and Israel are coordinated together to keep the world gay, tamed, and turn it brown. Like, that's what they want. And Candace might be brown, but she's bringing in Christianity. She's bringing in truth. And they know if anyone's going to release the truth about Charlie, it's going to be her. So might as well kill the next person who saw the shooting, right? That's kind of my opinion, Will.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Am I all
you
good
sound
now
good.
in terms of audio? Okay, great. Yeah, sorry about that. This was all super last second setup. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Candace Owens, when it comes to the situation with France, it's tough, because we have to understand is that clearly, and especially since October 7th, clearly every single world power, Israel, the most, has realized that the sort of democratized internet, meaning the internet where everyone can be a content creator, where people's opinions are moving at light speed, where the narrative is consistently shifting, and we're basically in this algorithm-defined cultural moment. I think they've noticed, and Netanyahu has said it himself before, that this is now an eighth front of the war, that this is a new front of sort of, like Alex Jones had been talking about for decades, the info war. I think we're officially there. And so it's kind of hard to tell what coming at you is real and what is fake, because as all this is being said, we could also turn around and ask the questions about Candace's connections to Russia and how Russia and France have beef with one another in the actual UN because there's beef over West Africa and Russia's moves with Wagner's in West Africa and France's, interests in the resources, like you said. So when it comes to like what is the true media narrative, what is the true narrative about what's going on, it's almost impossible to say. What I will say, though, is that, yes, in terms of intelligence, foreign intelligence, in terms of like when we think of spies or assassins, it seems like it's a myriad of countries all being involved, but really there's only one intelligence community. That is just a transnational entity. So the intelligence community of Israel is the same as the CIA, is the same as basically MI6. This is all one large intelligence community that all happens to lean a very certain direction, demographics wise, but I won't say more. Point is this, is that I think there is some credibility to her claims. I could see this being true, that I think it's clear that influencers, people who are spreading information, have become a target especially for Israel, in this latest war and in really the future of any conflict. And I think that she is very clearly, like you said, a very loud voice, a very popular voice who is causing lots of trouble for legacy media and for establishment media. And so it is not out of the realm of possibility that she would be targeted by officers of an intelligence agency or hitmen or even like the official, decree of a state like France putting out a direct hit on her. I could see all of this being true. I'm not entirely against it. I don't want to make any claims like preemptively though without really solid evidence. I am still a bit of a cynic, but I think it's entirely plausible.
Yeah. So what I want to bring up is this. So obviously we're not the only person who thinks that. If you guys remember, Pavel Durov, the guy who started Telegram, he had released a statement, particularly talking about how he actually believes there's some credibility to this, which I think is pretty remarkable, right? And one of the things that he said here, and I think this is to be taken into account, he goes, after reviewing everything Charlie Kirk has ever said about Macron's France, I find Candace's info about French involvement in his death entirely plausible. Charlie even called for 300% tariffs on France until charges against me were dropped. Now, this got exactly 6 million views, which makes it credible. Okay. Shout out to Playboy Fella, who also agreed, sent a $10 super chat. We don't have confetti and stuff, as I mentioned. If you're just joining the stream, I'm on the run. I'm sorry. I know we only have across platforms about 1,000 watching live. I've been infrequent. I do apologize. The guys know on here, I've kind of been going through hell. I've had to move my entire house, my entire company in the last 7 days. And it's been really, really taxing. And I have been attacked, my reputation, my family, my marriage, my safety. And it's been all over a girl who who was offended by her own picture. They say that the end of a woman is her own visage. And in this case, apparently it is. Also, note to self, don't date Indians. So I would say this, we're not an anti-Semitic channel, but I would say Jeets probably, I don't know. They're like Jewish people who don't shower, you know. So anyway,
yeah, they shall not be criticized. You got to be careful with the Jeets. Good Lord.
Oh, are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about Indians. Yeah. Actually, if I can cut in on this, I have an opinion on this because I live in a very India-heavy area. Okay, let me cut in on this real quick. See, the thing about them, right, is that, and I can honestly, there's something commendable about this. Okay, really, every immigrant group post 1965, the blueprint model of how can we be a successful immigrant group is who? Jews. They are arguably the most successful immigrant group into our country. Like in less than 100 years, they went from being like seamsters and like literally working in like textile factories to now they like own the banks or whatever. So they're like objectively the number one group that everyone's trying to emulate. When new groups come to America, they're like, okay, I want to be like that. Here's the thing. Indians are trying to do that whole ethnic nepotism, setting up organizations for themselves, setting up media capture, all the things that Jews did. Here's the problem. They were too dumb. that they forgot to set up the like gigantic legal infrastructure of things like the ADL and the Friends of the IDF and all these different organizations that made criticizing and noticing them like straight up illegal. And so they're basically trying to speed run Jewry without any of the protections that the Jews had set up for themselves. So everyone is noticing it in real time and calling them out. That's why if you can say things publicly about Indians and their like nepotistic practices and their hiring practices and their ethnic favoritism, that like if you attempted to say those things about Jews on like Fox News, you'd get nuked from orbit. Even though it's the same thing. It's the same level of ethnic favoritism. They hire one another, they work with one another, they don't mind going around certain loopholes in the system for their own benefit. The only difference is that they don't have this like gigantic punishing legal structure because they never set that up. I had a whole like reel I wanted to make about that because it's such a like, that really is how their community is. Like they just don't have that structure, which is why right now on this stream, you can call them Jeets and you can talk about the fact that like, yeah, all the fucking motels are owned by them. You can't say it. You could probably say that on Fox. You can't say that about Jews anywhere. Maybe here, but like not anywhere else and like be able to make a living.
Yeah, but they also have numbers too. Like one of the things that you have to be really careful. So this is I want to bring up a really important tweet that I raised a question about, and we're gonna kind of transition in a second to the next topic. It's kind of a funny transition, but you know, people have been saying, hey, look, we need more regulation on the internet. And my petition is still that we would create this button where you could turn off Indian content. This would be the ultimate power move. And the reason why is because like we have borders because when it comes to, so like, you know, obviously we know the issues with the sexual assaults and the rapes, like we have problems where like, you know, they get off the hook, right? When I was in Australia, this one immigrant, I think it was from Afghanistan, went up to a girl and finger blasted her in her bikini. And so, which is RAPE. And he got let off the hook because he didn't know you can't just finger blast strangers. So he thought like, if you're in your underwear, I can RAPE you. And so like in some ways our system is kind of based because you're like, oh, they're literally like, this guy's retarded. Like he's incapable of understanding like boundaries. And by the way, that's not like Me Too stuff. It's not like, oh, you know, they, you know, grab my ass or something. It's like, you know, this is like, that's like straight up just aggressive RAPE. So they're kind of like, hey, these guys are like animals. They don't get it. So we have to have borders to prevent people that think like that from living with us. However, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to other things like, you know, our conversation, we'll talk about it in a second, what happened with Twitter, but we're finding out that a lot of these people get through the digital borders and they actually coordinate like Jews and they have Telegram chats. They mass report to the point that that one guy, Tyler Oliveira, whatever, was going to upload the Indian poop throwing video. And he ended up not uploading it because they were threatening to kill his family. You know, who's they? It wasn't American Indians. It was actual Indians in India. And they will get your post taken down. They will get your channel deleted. They will get you demonetized. And I wouldn't be surprised, not that it's happening to anyone here, but when you and if something happens to your channel or, you know, things happen, it could be Indian coordination. And we need to have a way to block regions from accessing our content because it is a violation of our conversation. It's essentially like spam calls, but there's no block for it. And the government needs to do something about India. The spam calling, the H-1B, the dirting the streets, the Diwali, the becoming FBI director. I have a lot of things against them. You know, when you swear on the Bhagavad Gita and you tell people you see them in Valhalla, like we just know that Kash Patel is like never got such a hot chick in his life. And so he's like, okay, I'll do whatever you want. You know, she's like, you know, by the way, not her, but, you know, she could just be like, oh, you're not getting any head or you're not getting this, you're not getting that. And he'd be like, okay, I'll do that, missus. I will do what I must. And he'll do this because what? Every Indian guy wants to be with like a lighter skinned non-Indian woman. That's their dream. Bob's and Vagine, baby. That's what they want. So when we put these people in our conversations, they end up destroying everything. Lily also is a Barry Stanton supporter from day one. So I know you have a lot to say on this.
Yeah, I was very disappointed to see that. The reveal, I tell you what, the reveals of where these accounts are based is shocking. And I am heartbroken. I loved Barry Stanton, and it was a betrayal. That is the biggest betrayal I think I've ever
Who was
experienced
he?
in my life. He was. I thought he was some like white guy, but it was like exposed that he was based out of India or something.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
See, they're
Barry
using their little
Stanton?
influence. Yes. At least it made though, because his original page was banned. So this was like very come back to life or whatever. So maybe that was a poser. So we can still hold on to hope that the original Barry Stanton could have been the original gangster and was a true Brit.
Now, I know that you only have like, I don't know if you could do the next segment about Indian content, or do you need to go? Because I know you have a very limited time
I
today,
can
Lily.
probably do maybe 5 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, let me just real fast, before we talk about that, let me just give a huge shout out to one of our sponsors for today, guys. I want to remind you, extremely, extremely important stuff. Many of you guys need to understand that we have this amazing company. It's HYPF on PAF on the USA market, HYPE on the Canada market. This is copper. So this is a investment company. They've gotten tens of millions of dollars through grants and investments, and it's essentially an investment opportunity to own a stock that will actually help you not only hold your money, but using precious metals, using resources that a lot of people don't think about. We think about investing in Tesla. We think about investing in foreign companies, but essentially they've come together and said, hey, look, we're looking for speculative individuals who want to do long holds on something important, particularly people who would be interested in investing in copper. So when we're talking about Hyperbit's copper, it's let me see if I can get the exact website here. Give me one moment. Sorry, guys, I'm totally in another country, but I'm just kidding. I'm not. But District Copper is trading under the HYPAF in the USA. And HYPE, that's Hyperbit. But if you actually want to, I guess they didn't load the right one in there. It's actually under CAXPF in the United States. That one's for something different. And DCOP, we can go ahead and District Copper is gaining traction in North America's critical mineral sector. The company has announced a strategic partnership with Reacher Gold LLC, a Nevada-based exploration firm focused on copper, gold, and silver. District Copper's binational strategy, combining the Canadian Copper Keg project with new U.S. assets, positions it uniquely in geopolitical landscape. Check it out today at districtcoppercorp.com. I don't know why we don't have that in our list here. The wrong thing was put up, but it's okay, because it's not a Rift show unless there's a catastrophic loss of money in every episode and some form of major technical issue that costs us our dignity, our reputation, or our life. So that's the kind of quality that we bring, which is why you got to support us, because that's the fun thing. By the way, Lily, if I get you advertisements, make sure your people give you the lower third so you get paid for it, because there's no point to have ad reads when you don't get paid. All right, let's talk about some of this stuff here. I want to get into this conversation that happened on the regions. So Nikita Bear, what do you think about this guy? This is an interesting guy. What do you think, Lily? I mean, you know what I'm talking about?
No idea who that is.
He's the one that's in charge of all this stuff, like putting these features in. He's the head of like product.
Wow.
And he is on it. I had a very rich Jewish friend in New York call me and tell me that like he was reading my actual posts about him and was like mad, and now I'm gonna go meet with him in New York. So yeah, this does happen. All he asked for was a little, and they call that the Preston Para treatment, but I'm joking.
I just like watching in real time the like fulfillment of the 4chanification of X. Like, we started off when Elon took over, obviously better, I don't want to say free speech fully, but better free speech rules came in, and obviously people were allowed to have accounts that were previously banned. And like very slowly, all of the memes, all of the discourse just started moving towards like poll, like it just started moving towards 4chan type stuff. And now we've fully come to like the posts have like the region on it, like your region has to be claimed. You have to have your flag there. We have like officially come full circle into the full 4chanification of X. I don't know anyone who uses X outside of politics anymore. I think it's like solely like right-wing politics. I don't see
you're just
leftists on X.
You're just an
I guess I'm in like I'm in a bubble, because I don't get a lot of like, I get Indians, I get like hardline Zionists, and then I get us, and that's all I get on my algorithm.
Well, let me jump in with Lily real fast because she's got to go. I just want to read this. In a couple hours, we'll be rolling out about this account globally, allowing you to see the countries or region where the account is based. This will be accessible by tapping the sign up date on profiles. This is an important first step to securing the integrity of the global town square. So they've obviously listened to us being upset that Indians are involved. Now, when you click on this joined, it'll show you here the date joined, the account is based in, what it's an affiliate of, what it's connected by. And this goes across the board, by the way. When you click on individuals, you should follow him, by the way. Vrillium Live, VRILLIUM Live. This is a Vrillium who's on right now. You can click here and you can see that it's, here's where he's at. He's an affiliate of us. He's had 3 username changes. He used to have Gayboy69 puppy toy, other ones, and now he's connected via the United States. Lily, there's a lot of problems that we'll bring up with this, but I think this is a step in the right direction to clarity, because we're talking about censorship. At least X is saying you should know where someone's based out of. However, what we're finding is that the Zionists are using this. They're like, well, see, basically, oh, you're in Portugal and you're commenting on American politics. That's the same thing as me taking copious amounts of money from Israel to push their agenda in America. And you're like, no, that's not the same thing. What do you think this has been a good, bad rollout? I don't know what your thoughts are, but I've seen a lot of controversy, good and bad, mixed reviews.
I think it's a great thing because, all of they're just coping at this point. They're realizing that all their biggest supporters are from India, which that's got to be a little bit embarrassing to have arguably the shittiest country in the world, pun intended, being your biggest cheerleaders. So that sucks for them. That really sucks. And they're now finding out that like all of these people that seem like organic accounts, well, they're based in Israel. What was it? I don't know if this is fake because all you fuckers keep posting AI stuff. But I saw that the Department of Homeland Security or one of the United States Twitter accounts was originated in Israel. Again, don't know if that's AI.
Yeah, DHS. It was DHS.
DHS. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's legit or not.
No, that was 4chan. They met.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm as bad as a boomer with the trying to just figure out what is AI and what is not. But regardless, I think them just trying to write off any America First posts and creators that are based out of, I don't know, Sweden or Portugal, that's not an own to me. Those are white people. We're white countries. We're the West. So to me, that's just more validation that we're in the correct and maybe some unity between white people, which is what I want to see.
Yeah, okay, and this is what I want to bring up too with you, Will, and we'll let you go in a second here, Lily. Lily actually has to go. She's yeah, we're not going to talk.
It was an
about
unfortunate scheduling issue.
Yeah, she's actually getting her butthole lasered, so we don't want to talk about that. But she's always had a testosterone imbalance.
I'm actually secretly an Indian myself.
Yeah. That's what people said. No, it's actually just to bleach the Jewish away, because if you look at her side profile, you would realize she's actually late for her Shabbat. But I do bring up this conversation. Look, I am speaking for everybody where calling me a racist, calling me anti-Semitic, calling me, discriminatory doesn't matter anymore. I walk around and like everybody, when I moved, I just asked the guy straight up, where do the white people live here? And he goes, you could have just asked me where the safest, nicest place to move is, right? He could have, that's what he says. He's like, you could have just asked me what's the nicest region of this city to live in, and I could have told you. And he's not white himself. And that's my point. He's Latino, and he's like, dude, I it's where I live, man. I want to live around the white people. I'm like, why? He's like, well, because, honestly, man, when I think about living in the West, when you live around non-white people, it's not the West, man. You live in Mexico, you live in El Salvador, you live in these countries. Now, I love El Salvador. El Salvador, I've been accused of working for El Salvador, which wouldn't even be weird if that was true. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's not. The Jews actually started a giant lie online, completely took what I said and twisted it. It's just like when they try to connect me to Ollie Alexander. The kid never said I was with Ollie Alexander, and they just cut it so it looks like that. It's like they just made it look like I said I was, working with the government. But it's like these people are gaslighting and grasping. But I will say, I don't care anymore, because it's my children's future on the line. Lily, you're a mom too, and people give you shit for it, but it's like, I don't, because you know what? You love your kid. I've seen you, and I've seen that you're a good mom. You care. You're like me. All you do is talk about your kid. I'm not trying to call you out on the air, but you're a proud mom. You're like me. You keep your kid private. You don't talk details. I don't talk details, but look, you want a good life for your child. It doesn't mean you and I have made perfect choices. It doesn't mean white people are, perfectly moral. It doesn't mean that we haven't made mistakes, but I can tell you this. I have found a direct, like when I look back in the past, I want the life that we came from. And what I notice is that it's all white. And people say, oh, because that was white supremacy. Yeah, when our cultures were created by our ancestors to work for us, it's like, yeah, you came here and you felt unwelcome because you are. And
Yeah.
And you know what? We are, this is the kind of what's crazy about Rift. We get a lot of shit from the white nationalists. We got a lot of shit from the Nazis and the white supremacists because we have multi-ethnic people. We're not all white, but you know what we are? We are monocultured. So it's like, you don't have to work here. You need to be Christian and you need to be white cultured. Okay. And we know that there's a white culture because the blacks didn't stop crying about it for all of BLM. It's like, we're going to get loud. We're going to yell. We're going to be disruptive. And they made a list. Being white is being courteous, respectful. And I'm just getting tired of the fact that people are coming here. They're mad that we made a society for us and they're trying to change it, because when they change it, what you're finding is it's becoming something that's unenjoyable. And you realize that the reason why India sucks is because it's full of Indians. The reason why, like, this is totally not a dig. El Salvador is being fixed by a Palestinian. Okay. Bukele is not Hispanic. He's a Palestinian. He's a Semite. So it's like even that country took Palestinian leadership. And I love El Salvadorians. I'm not mad about that. But like when I see El Salvador, you see the city of what it looked like under Spanish European rule, and you see what happens when things got democratized pre-Cold War, post-World War II. It looks like when whites lost the World War, we all lost. Ultimately, we all lost. What happened is we gave control of the world to other people and they didn't know what to do with it. And that's my biggest issue is like Indians don't know what to do with a Costco. They don't know what to do with an X. Aboriginals don't know what to do with a modern home with a tankless water heater. Like they don't have the appreciation because they didn't build it. They come in and they use up what we're handing them. And then the worst part is because of the communist underlings, because of the Jewish and the Zionist hatred of white Christian culture, they are enabling them through NGOs and nonprofits to dismantle. What is whiteness? It's our society. It's our culture. And I think the reason why we're all together on this is we don't hate people who aren't white, but we're telling you, we're demanding that you respect our culture, or we're asking you kindly to leave, and we're not going to ask kindly very much longer. Lily, I'll give you your last words.
Yeah, I would just say I think we're done apologizing, and I'm done even trying to rationalize, well, this is the reason why I want a homogenous white society. No, we're done with that. We built this country, you didn't. And despite the gaslighting and the lies and the Jewish propaganda of, oh, this is a melting pot. No, it's not. We were at gunpoint forced to integrate with these people. We never wanted this. We didn't get a vote on this. We didn't get the option to deny Africans being brought to America. We want this to be at least at minimum a majority white country. There's nothing wrong with that. You are welcome to live in Africa. You are welcome to build Wakanda. You are welcome to live in India and throw poop at each other. Go and poop. I have no problem with that. Country. It should revert back to being a white country, and the white people have a say now. So I'm not apologizing. I'm not sorry. That's what I want. I want a white country. Sorry if that offends you. And if it does offend you, you don't belong here.
Yeah. And if you guys are watching right now, Lily has to go, but if you want to check out her page, you can see it here. She's Lily Gaddis, TheLillyGaddis. You can find, I believe it's the same thing on YouTube, correct? You can see here. Her Instagram. Let me see. Where's your YouTube?
I don't even know if that's correct. It's the Lily Gaddis show on YouTube.
All right, we got to help you. You don't even have give me a second. Let me get out of this.
Like I said,
you need a better manager.
Or any of this.
You need a we're gonna talk.
I need a male to be my
together.
manager. This is what happens when you allow females to take care of their own social media. It's a wreck.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're gonna have to work with you because we're gonna have to help. Let me just let's share this real fast so that we can make sure people find this. If you guys can drop a link in, it's the Lily Gaddis show. She's got huge numbers. She's making a big wave, and she's under attack right now from the censors and people that are out there. She'll probably talk more about that in the coming weeks and months. But make sure you support her. Lily, is there any other pages that you want to plug?
Well, I just started a Rumble. It's Lily L. Gaddis on Rumble. I had an old Rumble account, but it was a stupid name. So we're just abandoning a ship there and starting the new one because, I know I'm not going to last long on YouTube. So it is what it is. So go there to the Rumble. That's where everything else will be uploaded until we are cooked on YouTube. Thanks to
Awesome.
the Jews
All
and
right.
the Jews.
All right, Lily, thank you so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye, Elijah.
All right. Joining me is Will. I want to get into this conversation here on the regions. It's kind of crazy. There's a lot of people that have popped up here. One of those individuals are like Alex Soros, which he came up and never be a Niger. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants Nigers around. Nobody wants them in their cities. Nobody wants them in their town square. Don't be a Niger. What do you think about Nigers? You feel like they're helpful to society or what?
I mean, I think a lot of these accounts, I think it's because of VPNs. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the dude's got a VPN. I mean, if you look at his face, that does not look like a real Niger. I mean, I've seen, I'm from New Jersey. I've seen some real Nigers. I've seen some young Nigers.
Young Nigers, yeah, the white.
I've seen some old head Nigers, and I'm telling you, this does not look like a real Niger. Someone pressed him. I'm just saying, I don't think this is a real Niger right here. Maybe a Ghanaian, but not a Niger.
Yo, I'm a real ass Niger. Where you at? I've been seeing a lot of videos of Nigers all over. By the way, this is so funny. I was laughing because I was packing up some stuff. I'm on the road and I got the essentials, right? You got the Glock 43X, you got the Glock 19. You got to have a V cutter because it's just the punch in the V is the only way to cut. Got to have the torch. And of course, I'm going to be reunited. My family have been separated for a little bit due to threats and issues. I'm going to be reunited with my kids. They were out visiting some family in Australia, and then I went under threat, so I had them stay. So I haven't seen my kids in 2 months. Wyatt Claypool told everyone that I was divorced. Another defamation from Alexis Wilkins' lawsuit. But these are these are little bit of cigars. It's one of the few things that I kind of spend a lot of money on. But I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking weed. I'm not doing anything. So it's nice. And then I have my little son. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. He's 1 year old. And so I'm giving him his first crucifix and I
have that same bear. One. I literally have that same
Amazon
icon of the. Yep, I have the same one from when I first did catechism. That's All
right, so let me go down here though real quickly. I wanted to talk about like the idea, like, look, it is serious because we'll talk about this story later about what happened on the train in the foreign country. But I also wanted to bring up, here we go. There's an individual called like Doge Designer. And we see just a lot of these people in India. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about this conversation is there's been individuals let me go down here. That's all different topic here. By the way, Sarah Stock does not have a baby daddy. I think people got confused here. It said Sarah Stock. This is Sarah, and this was apparently her baby daddy. Sarah's not pregnant. I'd just like to clarify. Sarah Stock is still at the network. She's just taken a step back because of her schooling, and she'll actually be ramping up fully in the coming weeks. I said disavow, and then everyone thought it meant that I was denying that she. I don't know how everybody didn't realize that she's not in a intimate relationship with a fat frog. I don't know where, but people were DMing me like, Sarah is pregnant. And you're like, no, she's not pregnant. She's a very good Catholic girl, and she's getting married to a frog. She wouldn't have sex with a frog or any of that stuff. And I think people that were suggesting that, please, it's gross. Don't talk about my employees that way. But I just wanted to clarify that since I had very icky comments. And just know, guys, it's seriously, I do take it personally. Please don't sexualize my employees. And I'm not talking about Sarah, I'm talking about Will, of course. I see you guys constantly in Will's comments, talking about him. Will, it's hard, right? Being on the internet. People have been really commenting on you.
It's insane. Hold on. I actually had a whole clip about this where I wanted to address the chopped allegations. Dude, all the time people are saying okay. I have two groups of people who criticize my appearance. Okay, let me preface this by saying I'm no model. Okay, I'm well aware of how I look. I'm not the best looking dude. It's not really what I'm here for. And so I got two groups that fuck with me, because of my looks. One is the Indians that I piss off, which that's whatever. Okay, not my fucking problem. I don't care. Whatever, dude. At least I'm not Indian. But the second group comes from the right wing. They're all anonymous accounts, but they come from the right wing and they're like, yeah, I would like some of your points, but you're not a oiled up, jacked, muscular dude. So I don't want to listen. And I'm like, dude, I don't like my Instagram. Like, this is a racism page. Like, this is not a men's health page. I don't like. I have someone commenting like, oh, you need to go to the gym. Like, I do go to the gym. I'm getting into it, but I was like, did you think this was a fitness page? Like, this is a page where I make racist and anti-Semitic jokes for people on Reels to like send to their coworkers. This is not a men's health page. I'm not a model. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of like Freudian psychology, kosher nonsense where it's like maybe like their fathers weren't in the picture. And so they need their information to come from like a really big, strong man to tell them that everything's going to be okay. I just don't understand it because I'm like, dude, like, I'm not a fitness page. Like, yeah, I look kind of goofy. I'm not the best looking dude. I certainly could always lose a few pounds.
Do we literally look like cousins? So like,
yeah, but we're not models. Like, that's the problem. This is the problem with like the pornified internet is that it's like, dude, like this isn't our bit. Like, if I was a model, like I would have a much nicer set. I'd have more money.
No, dude, your set's really nice, dude. You got.
Oh yeah, my printed out covers to Camp of the Saints. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
No, but wait, real fast. Like, okay, someone has actually asked if my sty went away because we're gonna keep talking about this. But like, realistically, guys, it's still recovering. I did use the ivermectin and hydrochloroquine. That's what I've been using, thanks to one of our interns. That's what I was using to clear it up. But no, dude, what it is that people don't realize like we're actually out here for our ideas, and also. But by the way, you're gonna see we're gonna be. He's already a Chet. He's a king. You don't need a change, king. But we're also going to. Part of Rift, everyone's going to be getting like super elite fit and everything. And we're going to be doing it because I do believe that we have to be going to church. We've got to be serving God. We've got to be getting our bodies together.
No, of course.
But you're not chopped. And I think that it's weird. Like, it's the same reason why people will go and they'll watch women just because they're hot. Like with politics, with these ideas, you should watch people based on their ideas. And that's why I want to bring this up. Matt Walsh has been pissing me off. Okay. Matt Walsh has been making me really mad. And I'm tired of sucking up to people. Like, a lot of people don't want to piss off Matt because he's one of the gatekeepers. Like, well, I want Matt to like me. Dude, honestly, Daily Wire has no credibility anymore. I don't want to work there. I don't care.
That was one of my clips. One of my big clips was me shitting on Daily Wire. Listen, I'll gladly shit on Matt Walsh. And actually, I'm actually in like a thread of doing that because I have like family who's like kind of friends with him, but I'll shit on him. I'll totally.
Well,
say
yeah,
it.
and I've worked with him, but like he's mad because Sneeko and others have been calling him out for being a Shabbos goy. And I'm not one to really point the fingers, but let me see if I can see. There's like a funny meme down here. Yeah, people put up all these memes, right, of Matt Walsh, and I don't think they're really fair. This is the one he's mad about. Account based in Ben Shapiro's ass. There's also this other funny one, I think, too. Yeah, this one he was mad about Sneeko shared. And look, I don't think all this criticism is fair. I think Ben's a nice guy. What is a goyim? But everybody, it's not bad, huh? This one too. Look at that,
dude. Ugh. Like, it's here's the thing I find so funny about Matt Walsh, and I don't know the reach on this stuff. Maybe we'll get into Matt Walsh's eyes. Like, this is directly to Matt. If Matt Walsh tomorrow made a tweet and was like, you know what? I'm leaving the Daily Wire, kept all of his same political positions, all of them, all of his positions on race, on foreign, everything. If he literally just said, I'm leaving the Daily Wire and I'm not going to disavow and publicly censor people like Nick or whatever. Dude, he would be Gen Z's top guy like that. Like, every single Gen Z conservative would immediately be like, dude, Matt Walsh fucking rules. I'm going to go buy a copy of Lady Ballers. I'm going to go buy the coffee and the fucking whatever he sells. Everyone would be the biggest fan of him because he has everything right. He is funny. He's a good presenter. He's got this kind of almost like Gen X kind of dad vibe going on. He's a fun character. And yet it's this one thing. It's his refusal to let go of the shekels. If he would just let it go, not only would he probably make more money because he'd own his own media properties, he wouldn't be what is effectively a slave to Ben Shapiro IP wise, but like all the young people would come flooding in. Right now, Daily Wire's main demographic right now, their like most successful audience is boomers who have like died of dementia, like in their chair, and the autoplay feature is still on and it's just skipping through the videos.
Yeah.
That's their main. And it's like, dude, he would have the most young, energized, like fun audience if he just one tweet was just like, you know what? I'm leaving Daily Wire. I'm going with, I'm going independent. I'm going with whatever. Fuck Ben Shapiro. I'm here. Dude, overnight, he would be a hero to all. Candace Owens did the same thing. Candace Owens went from like any time she tweeted, we all were just like making fun of her and throwing racial slurs at her, to now whenever she tweets, people are like, guys, a black queen is speaking. Listen and learn. Like this is our queen. We're gonna ride for fucking Candace Owens. So I don't know. It's just terrible business to stay at Daily Wire. I don't see the incentive at all.
Well, yeah, and I think one of the main things that I want to bring up is like he's bringing up this stuff. Like he's like, I'm already loving this new feature. It's this account called Israel Exposed, and it's his account, started in Saudi Arabia. And I love how this is like, ha ha ha. Like, okay, this is ridiculous because I don't know if people know this, but it's not just groypers that have a problem with the Israeli government. Okay, this is a international issue. There's now been 111 countries and provinces. There's 207, I think, if you can count city-states, that these people have been kicked out of. Every time a Christian nation has kicked them out, they've entered into a mass renaissance or a golden age. Because, like, think about this. Imagine if we kicked out usury out of our country. That's what you're kicking out. People say, why did they kick out Jews? You're not kicking out Jews. Like, imagine if tomorrow we outlawed pornography, stopped high-interest loans, like even just put a cap, right? Like maybe it's like, the max is 1% on homes. People say, well, how could you lend money? Okay, 1% market cap on home loans, 2%, 2.5% on credit cards. The stress that would relieve people if we didn't just forgive student loans, but we lowered the interest rate on them down to 1%, the entire country would have a sigh of relief. That's why they kicked them out. I'm not promoting racism. You're kicking out what they bring. Imagine if we went back to a society where a handshake mattered, where I told you, like in our company, we don't, it's like, hey, you can work with me. I'll help you find things. Like I work in some bigger companies and they make us sign contracts. I hate contracts. I had to sign this. And I did this because I hate contracts. I signed the same contract all my employees had to with our company, right? Because we have investors and stuff. And so like they require us to sign contracts. And I hate contracts so much that I'm not making anyone in the company sign anything that I don't sign. That's kind of where I'm at. Because I'm like, look, it has to be trust. It has to be at the playing field. Because if we have different contracts, that's Jewish. It's like, already contracts are Jewish. But even if we just made it where contracts were simple, contracts couldn't be more than 3 pages. NDAs were a paragraph. Like, even if we just took down the Jewishness in our culture, like 70 to 90%, that's why people ask, why do you not want this culture in your culture? Because we don't contracts, lawfare, divorce, like these things are all very, very Semitic ideas, and they're not Christian, right? They're not Christian. They're not Western. They're not Anglosphere ideas, and I don't like them. And so even transgenderism, queerness, these are all like even bisexuality. People are like, well, the Romans and the Greeks, they're all bisexual. It's like, no, they believed in straightness, and they just had a little fun when they were at home with the boys, I guess. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's here and there. I mean, in terms of that, like, here's the thing. Okay, if we want to talk about the role of what's kind of spawned in recent times is people forget that in the 20th century, coming into the 20th century, in the 19th century as well, but large question at the early part of the 20th century was the infamous JQ, which the JQ is simply what is to be done with the Jews of Europe. That's all it was. That's all the question is. And the question wasn't one that was rooted in hatred. It was rooted within a political reality. We have this group of people who exist across borders. So especially at that time and even today, as this thing is sort of resurging, they exist across borders. We have Jews in America. We have Jews in Israel. We have Jews in England. We have Jews in France. We have Jews in Russia and Ukraine. They're across borders. And yet, despite being across borders, they feel an ethnic affinity. They consider themselves one group, one tribe, and historically their interest, or at least the way in which they have engaged in intrigue or politics, has been at the behest of this one tribe. And so it begs the question, can they truly be considered American or Russian or German or French or whatever if they have this sort of grander almost spiritual blood loyalty. And that's all the JQ was when it first was, brought to Europe's attention. And so what we're seeing now today being, I don't want to say relitigated, but being reintroduced is a form of that question. Is, okay, we have this group of people. Not only do they have this now transnational thing, because there are still Jews in America, France, Europe, whatever. Now they also have the state of Israel. So now there's also a state entity that has a flag, a fucking domain. It is recognized by the UN. There is a state entity that is specifically for them, by them, litigated and run exclusively for the benefit of them. And so that throws another dimension into this question. Is, okay, what is it then to be an Israeli? What is it to be an Israeli interest? What is it to be an Israeli, political actor? Because someone like Sheldon Adelson didn't have Israeli citizenship, didn't live in Israel, wasn't born in Israel, yet spent trillions of dollars, what would now be trillions of dollars, across his lifetime, ensuring that the political interests of Israel was done in America, in America's halls of governance. And why did he do that? Because he was Jewish and he felt a kinship to them, and that was his interest. And he was more interested in their political well-being than he was the political well-being of the United States. And so this is the question that is going to be relitigated now in this decade and decades coming is, what do we do? What do you do with that kind of political entity and those kind of political actors in your country? Can they be considered the same as someone like me, who my family came here on the Mayflower? I have nowhere else I can go. I guess you could argue that I used to have a political allegiance to England, but then we wrote a big document in 1776 that said, fuck you, and then shipped it, or 1773, shipped it across the ocean, and then we were no longer British anymore. So I'm kind of stuck here. This is it for me. This is all that I have. I'm only loyal to this. I don't even have any real, I guess I kind of have an ethnic affinity to England, but you don't see me advocating for England in our politics. So this is a question that's going to be brought up again. What do we do with this novel people? Because there's no one else like them on the earth. They're a very unique ethno-religious group. What do we do with them? How do they operate in our government and in our society? And the problem is that when you start bringing up solutions to this, when you start bringing up, okay, maybe we should look out for our interests and not let this transnational thing sort of cosmopolitanize the world and stomp over all of us for their own interests, then you start getting labeled an anti-Semite. Then you start getting censored. Then you start getting put down, because that questions and challenges the international network, the thing that they've set up and have spent a very long time setting up.
Well, yeah, but I bring up this idea of this distraction, this big thing where it's oh, I love this because this guy's in Saudi Arabia, so he's not allowed to comment on Israel. But then I said, what are you exposing, Matt Walsh? This guy said, I'm an American. I moved to Saudi Arabia. There are people out here who have been honest. I saw this expose, this Indian guy's do you know Keith Woods is Irish? And you're
that has to be real. It has to be bait. There's no way.
No, it's not. Let me show you right now. It is not bait. It is so it's he is actually an Irish nationalist.
He's well known in Ireland as a Irish political voice. We know him on Twitter, but he's in Ireland, he's a contemplated political voice. He's a meaningful political actor.
And the reason why we have to expose the Irish is because the Irish, well, they're taking over the world. You remember this?
That's true. That's true.
That Irish people run the banks.
That's so
Everywhere.
real.
They're in London, they're in Washington, they're in Moscow, they're in Buenos Aires, they're in Johannesburg, they're in Jerusalem. They're everywhere. And they get an audience with Putin, Netanyahu, with Trump, with Biden, with Milei.
I don't, because what am I watching?
Is this some weird leprechaun conspiracy theory? What?
UXC gives me cancer. But I only bring, I bring that up as a joke, but this is actually not joke. Check this out. So here he is. Siddharth was this literal troll has attacked me more times than I can count, all while pretending to be an American. He's never pretended. Turns out he's not even in America. He is an Irish guy living in Ireland, the fakest fraud of them all. And it's by the way, an affiliate of Rift TV. I don't really know what he does here, but he's one of our.
Oh, is he?
affiliates.
Oh, wow. He's an affiliate.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
learning something new every day.
Shit. Do we have like an Ireland office we don't know about?
Well, we're going to be starting a Rift Australia and a Rift UK sooner than later. I'm working
okay.
on securing that. They will be run independently, so they'll be like, we really won't have a lot of say over what they do, but it's intentional, right? The whole idea of Rift is a vision. Everyone's so mad at me too, by the way, for like starting a health company and getting like healthy, I guess. But the laugh thing is this guy said it. This guy said Siddharth was mad. I have a vision, and he says, yeah, he's pretending. And then Keith said, the jig is up, guys. And then it gets even better because let me see, where is this guy? He oh yeah, I've been exposed. VPN will not work. You're in Ireland. Like, people are actually saying this to him in multiple places. And then the guy was like, he is making fun of me in America. Now, what the problem with this is that, like, what they're doing, here's what the gaslighting is. When they're pointing this out, like an Irish person's in Ireland, there's that guy Antunes, I don't know what his name is. He lives in Portugal.
Yeah.
So here's the standard. What they've decided is, we realize that they're loyal to Israel. Now, what they're doing is this. They're taking money from Israeli-linked NGOs. It's not the $7,000 that people are saying. Again, guys, it's a lot of money that's going into this. And do you know that? Did you know that? Do you know, Will, that some of these people are being paid to do this? That I'll tell you later. But there's a money that went out to pay people to distract from the Israel thing from an Israeli NGO.
I don't doubt that. I don't.
Raise awareness that, like, look, people in Portugal are talking about America. Okay, if you're taking money from Israeli NGOs to distract from Israeli influence, if you're taking money from Israeli-backed nonprofits or Zionist nonprofits to put the focus on Qatar and put the focus on Islam instead of on what's going on Judaistically, if you're getting money from these countries, you're upset because your jig is up. Everyone's calling you out now. We see what's going on. You're a traitor to the Western Front. You no longer are an ally, and you are anathema. May you be cursed. We will hunt you down, and we will find you digitally. Clarify.
Well,
digitally,
I'll say this about them. Yeah.
But I would say, but that's why they're upset. But what they're doing, what I'm saying is, they're going, oh, Elijah said that he goes to El Salvador and pushes American interests in El Salvador in his business. Dude, that's the exact same thing as working for Israel in America. Like,
that's a very old tactic of theirs. I mean,
idiot.
A very old tactic of theirs is to basically proclaim of you what they are doing. And this is a rhetorical technique that they use. You'll see all the time. They've started, the minute questions about things like APAC and the GIDF and the Friends of the IDF and all these things started coming out, they immediately what did they start doing? They started going, everything's funded by Qatar. Why do they do that? So that when you turn around and go, no, wait a minute, that's what you're doing, it makes you sound a little crazy. Like, if I was to accuse you of something that I'm clearly doing, when you try to say back to me, wait, no, well, that's what you're doing, you sound a little crazy. It sounds like we're going back and forth of a, no, you did it, and it makes us sound stupid. Their goal, in terms of like the political narrative, the thing that Israel has mastered over the last few decades, is the notion of dispersion rather than proving someone wrong. They've learned that in this sort of like very fast-paced information network that is the common like narrative on social media, it's a lot more effective just to get people confused than it is to like complete a thought and convince them of something. So rather than making like a stated argument as to why APAC is a good thing and isn't like just a complete obvious example of like traitorism, right? What they would rather do is just create like a noise of discourse and be like, whoa, it's Qatar. No, but what about Russia? And just literally make as much noise as possible so that they can slowly, in the rabble of the whole thing, just slowly pull themselves out of the conversation.
Yes,
and all of a sudden you turn around and you're not even talking about the original subject anymore. And that's the whole point. That's the whole idea. And they've done this several different occasions with several different things. And then they pull things out into the void and you never hear about it again.
Well, yeah. And I think, and this is why I've never made content in order to get people to like me. I've just sort of spoken what I believe is the truth at the time. And I make mistakes, right? I took money to lobby for Kash Patel during the Senate hearings. I'm open about this stuff. And I think I'm the only person, like everyone you see who's doing this is trying to make money, okay? That's like the goal. And because I figured out how to do it personally, that's what Rift is about. That's why I started this. I'm like, I would like to do, the reason why they have power is because they figured out how to make money, and they've said, well, if you want to make money, you got to play by our rules. Now, I don't want to play by their rules. I found a way to personally make money. I don't live a crazy life. I don't own a Lamborghini. I don't own a McLaren, but I still have a decent life. Now, when I get sued for $5 million, I don't have that kind of money, right? So there's a cap to that, but I don't have trouble paying my rent. So I still have to fundraise, and I was able to fundraise for my thing. Thank you to everyone who helped me fundraise. Legal fees are expensive. We've already spent, I think we're at like 20,000 already just to like try to get the case dismissed. But I have to have a whole legal team. I have 5 people, 3 lawyers and 2 paralegals working on this because it's ridiculous. However, the rudimentary question here is like, they're doing this because they want to let us know the only way to have my life is to essentially do what they say. And I proved them wrong. But I go, you know what? Why do they have influence? They have influence because they can control narratives subtly. And our side is retarded. I mentioned this on Lily's stream because our side refuses to pay for the content creators that are out there. And we go, you shouldn't be able to make money doing this. We don't want to support you. Well, here's the funny thing. The Zionists believe that the narratives are so important that they spend billions of dollars a year to control them. Our side goes, well, you shouldn't be getting paid for this. This shouldn't be a job. You shouldn't be around here. And people go, well, why do you get to make a lot of money doing this? Well, I didn't say I make a lot of money, but I've been able to use my money to start a network, and I'm trying to slowly build people up. Now, it's hard for me because I can't just bring Will on, take Zionist, a $10 million Zionist check. I was on the phone with an investor today, and they want to come on board. And he was like, well, why have you not taken other money? I go, I have been offered huge sums of money, but it came with Zionist strings. So when I said this company will not take Zionist money, it is not because everybody who works here needs to be anti-Israel. In fact, if you never want to talk about Israel on your program, I don't have a problem. Maybe your show's about movies, right? But I don't want to be controlled. And I want to teach other people that you don't need to be controlled to make money, but it comes with difficulties. It's hard. We have to really be strategic. It takes strategy because nobody's doing it. We're the only company that's doing it. Yeah, Fuentes does it. Yeah, Tucker does it. Yeah, Candace does it. But they don't have any hosts. They don't have anybody else they're paying. They don't have a network. We're the only people in the entire industry who's trying to do this effectively and getting it done. But even then, if you work here, we always joke we pay people in trident layers. It's actually very difficult to get the funding, and everyone is patient because they realize I could just go out and get $10 million and pay them a salary. But if they wanted that, then they would go suck Matt Walsh's dick at Daily Wire and go work there. But we don't want it. When I went into Daily Wire, I don't know if you know this, Will, they have a rabbi in the front room. They have a rabbi, and they had me meet with a rabbi. They had me meet with a rabbi before I went on Candace Owens' show. I had to meet with a rabbi. I had to go pray with a rabbi. Like, I had to go sit in a rabbi's office and go. They had a rabbi follow me around. When I went to CPAC, they gave me a Jewish handler. You weren't around for then. They had this guy. No. They gave me a Jewish handler who followed me everywhere, tried to get me to go to Shabbat dinner, just talked to me the whole time about Jews and Israel. And he followed me everywhere. And he's like, I was asked to hang out with you. I was told to befriend you. Why? What did I do? He's like, wow, it's like what they are. But I want to say this. We are winning because nationalism is the answer. Keith Woods had a good response to this. Listen to what he had to say.
You talk to their youth members, like they're following all the same media we are. All the interesting stuff is coming out of nationalist circles. They're very tapped into that. A lot of them are kind of, playing the game or infiltrating these parties. But very much the meta on the right is moving towards nationalism all the time. And time is on our side there. In a sense it isn't. But all of these parties seem to have a big split between the Gen Z people who are much more nationalistic, more radical, and the boomers who are kind of an obstacle to that. So in that sense, time is on our side.
Well, I've been next to you at a lot of these events, and it is amazing the amount of people, much younger than us, that are coming up and saying, I was red pilled by your content. Now I'm in an organization. Now I'm in a political party. They're professional, well put together people.
Yeah. So.
No, that's honestly the big reason why I wanted to join up with Rift is that I think I'm not going to give away my age, but I'm in my mid-20s. And so I'm part of Gen Z. I'm later. I would consider myself more of on the unk side of Gen Z, but I am part of Gen Z. And what I'll say is this, as someone who's deeply involved with like college Republicans and the young Republicans, and I am basically with young conservatives all the time. I actually have a clip about this coming out soon. And I've said this before, kind of jokingly, but there is a truth to it, that the reason Gen Z is the way it is because we've been priced out of the bread and we've been kept out of the circuses. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that the cost of living, not just like buying this, I mean, just the cost of having a life that is dignified, having a home, having a wife, kids, just a dignified salt of the earth life that is completely unaffordable now. It's just like not possible to do. You have to be immensely, like you have to be very, very privileged and very, very wealthy to pull that off. Like you have to be, even making six figures is not enough to pull that off in many places in this country. And second, all of the entertainment, all of the things that kind of distracted us before and kept us out of the political realm, which I don't think there's a problem with that. I think that the average person doesn't want to be in the political realm. I think the average man, like I said, he wants his wife, he wants his kids, he wants to take his kids to Little League Baseball, he wants to have a normal, dignified life, go to church on Sundays, and yet we have now been forced into this political reality where every single thing is political. Every advertisement you see on the drive to work or in the subway or whatever is like an attack on you and your identity. It's an attack on Western values. Every single thing you see and hear is becoming more and more political. The lines now between someone being a political influencer and like a comedian or normal influencer are becoming incredibly blurred. And so really, the sort of illusion of the bread and the circuses is just completely gone. And now we live in this very, very harsh, overly politicized reality, which one could argue is the real reality of the state, but that's a whole other conversation. The point is this, is that the rubes of the world, the America's idiots, all of us, we've been dragged into the political theater when we did not consent to do so. We did not want to go and do so, yet we've been pulled into the political theater. And so what's come from that is this consensus on both sides. Let me note this, on both sides, that the liberal, democratic, like representative democracy, sort of republic status quo, it's not going to cut it anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And so what spawns from that? What spawns from that is this hyper radicalism, effectively, just an ideological war taking place right now within discourse, but just as it did before, it might find itself turning into actual war. That's all the world wars were, it was just an ideological war. It was the ideologies going across Europe of communism and fascism litigating themselves and fighting one another and arbitrating that battle in a real, very large physical way that led to the deaths of millions. And so my greatest fear is that, and I wouldn't even call it a fear because it's kind of just like a basic reality, is that we are heading towards a period of intense political, ideological warfare and radicalism. I think that the left, like Gen Z leftists, are like Maoists. They're like bio-Leninists, like race communists, like full-on, we salute the chairman communists. And then right-wing Gen Zers are posting like Agartha edits and, streaming HH by Kanye West. Like they're going fucking crazy, being super right-wing. And so there's no center anymore. It's not going to happen. The center has been nuked into oblivion. And we're evidence of that. I mean, the fact that we're doing this stream and talking, like clearly neither of us are centrists. And so the fact that we have viewership, the fact that people want to see what we're saying, the fact that my reels have done so well is proof enough that, the average person is slowly fading away and is being replaced with a hyper-partisan, with radicalism. And Gen Z conservatives are especially radical, especially taken away from this old Reaganite establishment order of neoconservatism. We have entered like full populist nationalism, damn near national socialism-esque territory. And that's kind of the way it's going to keep going. I don't think you can stop this train once it gets moving. I think I unplugged myself. I cannot hear you. I trust what you said, though, was proper funny. Hold on.
No, you couldn't hear me because I was muted. I was just trolling you. No, so there's this thing that happened in. Sorry, I thought you weren't finished yet. So just talking to someone over
no,
here.
You're good. You're good.
So there's this thing that happened in Australia called Welcome to Country, which is this way of giving an ode to the Aboriginals. Now, they started doing it in Canada and the US too, which is, they did at the Academy Awards. You know, this land belongs to the Windjawarrambadarani Club. Look, imagine you're just like a women's soccer team. Maybe this is rugby. I'm not entirely sure. You're just trying to play ball. And it's supposed to be a time where you just give an ode to the First Nations people. Look at this. Look at this. Watch. This is, I almost don't want to watch it. It's so insufferable. But this is how they begin sports games in Australia.
To conduct an official welcome to the country, please welcome Louisa.
Why do you need to be welcome to the country that you started? Like, it's a landmass, and those people were there before the landmass. They weren't in the country because the country was started by white people. So why are you welcoming me to a country that I'm in? Welcome to country. Did I buy we at the airport? What? Yeah, right? Am I wrong on that?
No, you're dude. Absolutely.
I found one, so you know I'm into that.
Crisis affecting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children and young people in youth detention. Our children remain disproportionately represented in these systems and are often too treated not as children, young people deserving care, protection, and opportunity, but as a number within the structures that serve political.
Bro, pass me the fire water. I'm done with this, bro. Pass me the peace pipe.
The drivers of this crisis are well known: the ongoing impacts of colonisation and systemic racism, limited recognition of sovereignty, resistance to Indigenous leadership, and continued land and economic dispossession. These issues are a matter of social justice, human rights, and legal responsibility. There are other countries such as New Zealand and American Native Indians that are leading in these areas and addressing issues in their own country. Australia has already committed to frameworks that uphold rights to self-determination, including the Anti-Discrimination Act 1991, international human rights covenants recognised by the
It's
Australian.
like, bro, wrap it up. Like, damn, we're trying to watch some football.
Particularly Articles 3 and 4 on self-determination and self-government. The Closing the Gap framework also requires governments to strengthen Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families, communities and cultures. Narangoi Limited's programs align with this responsibility by prioritising care, respect, to say that every time I'm invited.
Also, dude, they used to film the butts. I'm not sure, but they don't even do that anymore. So now you're watching girls' sports. The only thing you want to see is their asses. It's just true. And not me, of course, because I'm Christian, but some people want to see them. And they don't even film their butts in the shorts anymore. And then they have to listen to some weird bug person, you know, speaking ant language. Like, it's like, hey, buddy, sir, could you cut it off? Look at this. Look at this. I'm just being honest. It's true. Nobody's watching. Everyone just wants to see how their butts look. That's it. And people get mad at me for how crude I am on this show. And it's like, you're a father. Yeah. How do you think I became a dad? It was by liking ass. Okay. How do you think I had kids? Because I'm a sexual person. Like, it's like, wow, you know, you gotta have to make the children. It's like, well, you shouldn't be talking like that anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know this show was for 9-year-old women. The show's for men, and men don't notice girls' butts. And now we get to see elbows. Now we're looking at weenuses and Aboriginal propaganda. I'm tired of this.
Bro. If you wish to discuss this, catch up with me afterwards.
If you wish to discuss this, catch up with me. Hey, after the game's done, could you throw me a cup? Hey, mate, could I get a quad X? You know, get me a beer, mate, and then I'll go catch up with the Shyla. So I'll go catch up with the Shyla back and talk a little bit about some politics. You know, it's nothing's more Aussie in our history than talking with a little Aboriginal dude. 50 years ago, they were trying to poison them with water. Do you know about that? There was a dude, like what happened to us, dude? Like in the 1970s, one of the richest mining families. People that are new to this show, my family is Australian American, which means I'm not allowed to comment on America apparently. But I lived out of there mostly for the last decade. I just moved back to the U.S. about a year ago. But what was so interesting is like I was there and I was like, oh, why is this woman like so philanthropic and why is she constantly like pandering to these Aboriginals with all like she's funding all these welcome to countries? Like, well, her dad got caught in the 1970s. He created a mass plan. There was this river that went through the main tribes in his province, and they were just going to poison the river and just massacre all the Aboriginals. Like 1971, I think, or right around then. And so there was a national, and he didn't even go to jail for it. Everyone was just like, maybe we shouldn't massacre them. So we went from like 50 years ago, gonna just like get rid of Aboriginals in that region, which is horrible, of course. I condemn, disavow, sick. I want to hear more of this. To now you have straight race communism like,
well, those
it's
things are
crazy.
connected. They're connected. I mean, here's the thing. It's so crazy. We're hitting all these points that I have all these clips like literally loaded up for. So I talked about this before. I've talked about it on like my own like interpersonal live streams on Instagram or whatever, which I managed to include my tags down here. So folks, please feel free to give me a follow if you aren't already. But you know, when it comes to this, it's funny because we are the only people on earth, white people, Western society, that would ever entertain this. What do I mean by that? Go grab a Greek person right now and take them to Istanbul. Okay, grab like a Greek liberal, take them to Istanbul. Take them to Parliament, whatever the fuck, I don't know what the fuck they do over there in Istanbul, Parliament, the like oil wrestling, I don't know how the hell they do politics over there. You take them to Turkish Parliament, okay? And say to them, hey, I have this Greek guy here. We'd like to do a land acknowledgement for Constantinople. We'd like to do a land acknowledgement that this was originally Greek land. They would spit on you and kick you. They'd throw you, deport you. They'd throw you out of the country. They go, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Turkey. We won it, you know, a fucking 1,000 years ago. Get the fuck out. What are you talking about? We are the only people who do this out of a sense of empathy. And here's the problem. This specific, you know, dynamic of our society and the native society, the indigenous society, whether it's with the Aboriginals, or the American Indians, or in Canada, fucking whatever, okay? It's kind of all the same thing in terms of this dynamic. Other groups of people have figured out that they can exploit this dynamic for their own gain. Because half the time, the people who organize shit like that, who organize these big white guilt fests, are people like Indians or Chinese people or Jews or like other groups of people who have literally nothing to do with our dynamic. Like that beef was between us and them. Like the Trail of Tears, that was us and them. Rajesh had nothing to do with that. He wasn't even here. And yet they've learned that if they can use this, what they kind of deem a historic sin, they can browbeat us into opening up the borders for them. They can browbeat us and say, well, actually, you stole this from the natives. You stole this from the Ooga Booga tribe and the Aboriginals. So now you have to let in 50 billion Indians or else like that's hypocritical. And we're the only people, white people, Western society, that hears that argument and goes, yeah, that tracks. That like makes sense. That is a logical argument that we should follow. And here's the funniest part of this entire thing. And go on Twitter right now. You can see all these India accounts, especially in my replies when I make videos like shitting on India. All they talk about is, well, you're not a real American. The natives, the real Americans. I promise you right now, if you said to some village in Punjab or fucking wherever on the Indian subcontinent, if you said, hey, everyone in the village here, we're going to give you visas to the United States of America. But when you get here, there's going to be no housing. You have to knock down a native reserve and build the housing for yourself. Every single one of them would take that ticket. Every single one. They would come here to the Seminole Reservation or the Cherokee Reservation, and they would burn it to the ground to build housing for themselves. They would eat these people in order to have American money and American citizenship. So they don't actually care. They don't give a fuck at all. They have Rajesh has no intention of keeping our treaties with them or honoring their history on the Trail of Tears or any of these things that we do. They have no intention of doing that. Because why would they? In their minds, they're like, oh, damn, that sucks, dude. Like, we went through some shit too. Fucking deal with it. That's what it would be if we weren't here. And so they've learned that they can browbeat us. The true fact is, no one fucking cares. No one cares. The natives themselves don't fucking care. You ever meet like an American Indian and talk to them about politics? Some of them are like incredibly patriotic and they're like, dude, I don't want these fucking foreigners here either. And those are the ones that the Indians would love to then browbeat and go, oh, well, that one's a token. He's bullshitting. No. Their main goal is to justify their presence here further, and they're using these people for that. If you look up, you said you lived in Australia, the Australia Day protests that happened this year. Were you tapped in for that?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to go, I was invited to speak there, but I'm banned from the country, so that's the problem.
So Australia Day protests, like listen, I'm no Australia history expert, so please stop me at any point if I'm wrong. I know that Australia Day, that's like when they celebrate, I guess, the founding of Australia. It's a national holiday about Australia, basically. And so counter to this, there was this large counter protest where they called it Invasion Day. And it was this Aboriginal protest. Oh, well, they invaded us. We're going to have this protest where we say, fuck you, Australia. Fuck you, white people. You invaded us. You took our stuff. Go look at photos of it. The crowd is Indian. Not feathers Indian, dot Indian. The whole crowd is Indians carrying signs that says abolish Australia. It says land back, except none of them give a fuck. Most of them don't even fucking speak English. They have no idea what the sign says. They were handed it. They have no idea what it says. They know, okay, if I follow this political trend of like browbeating white people, I can get my cousin Raj in the country. I know that if I carry this sign that says abolish Australia, I can maybe make liberal white women feel bad enough that my rapist, train spotting cousin over here, Brigitte, I can bring him in. That's all it is. That's all it is. And if you think anything else, if you think that everyone is a genuine political actor and we are the only people on earth who have ever acted selfishly in politics, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot and I can't help you. And so the sooner people realize this, the sooner we can get to like fixing our fucking countries and realizing that, yeah, people are self-interested. All of this indigenous talk, nonsense bullshit, none of it's led by indigenous people. It's all led by like fucking Jews and Indians. And two, none of it is to actually honor the native people or honor their culture. The goal is to completely stomp upon it. It's to completely stomp upon the country. What happens to the natives' story? What happens to the Cherokees' great story? The fucking Geronimo's Cadillac? What happens to all that shit when we become this globalized country with no culture and no story? What happens there? What is a totem pole going to be worth other than a way to hold up a door frame that's falling apart because no one's doing any fucking maintenance, if there's no story behind it, if there's no people behind it, if there's no sense of struggle behind it and this grander society behind it? It's nothing. It's carved wood. It's bullshit. It's nothing. And this is the logical end result of these arguments of, 200 years ago, you did some shitty things to the natives. You had this shitty relationship with the natives. So now you have to let your country become fucking Uttar Pradesh in India. Yeah, doesn't make a lot of sense when you say it like that. Doesn't make a lot of sense when you sit for a minute and go, wait a minute. I don't think these political actors actually are interested in the story of the natives. I think they're kind of just interested in getting free shit out of me.
Well, let me see. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
I want to bring up just one more story before we end here. I just want to mention honorable mention. One of the things is, there was this girl that was I haven't looked. I'll look at the update in the middle here. Was it Amy McGee? Is that her name? Let me see. Let me go down. I want to make sure we remember her name. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. Yeah. So Bethany McGee. I mentioned this on a previous. I think I mentioned this earlier. She's a cutie pie. She just looks like a sweet little girl, and I mean little, obviously, for the weirdos out there. This is not the context, I'm not sexualizing her, just a cute little girl. She's 26. I personally I love skinny girls. It's just kind of always been my thing. I just like little Lauren stuff, and you just think she's, you got to protect them. You want to be there. So this could be like your little sister, maybe you're young. This could be your future girlfriend. This
like
could be
Sam
your
Hyde
daughter.
said.
Yeah, this could be your daughter, or this could be you. And I think she's cute and she looks nice, and that's all I should think about her, except for the fact that she was lit on fire like a candle, and it's very graphic, by an individual who threw gasoline on her. And this guy in the middle, I think he had somewhere between 60 and 72 prior arrests. And, this girl on the right was murdered. Irina was murdered. I got to remember all their names. We're not safe. Like, I can't live in a metropolitan city because my wife isn't safe walking around. As much as they try to gaslight us, unfortunately, gaslighting has led to somebody being lit on fire by gas. Like, that's what happened here. And nobody helped her. Nobody helped her. She just melted. No one tried to put out the fire. Because people are just inhumane. They don't know what to do anymore. It's like, well, what do I do? Like, it's like Gotham. People just don't know how to react because it's just like, I guess this is just a poor victim. Like, you just hope it isn't you. And that's what's come down to in society. And we don't have to live like this. We don't have to accept this. You know, I don't want to live in a society around Black people. I just don't want to. But it doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me evil. I don't think that Black people inherently are evil. Like, I saw this video, you know, I want to say with white people that emulate this culture are just as freaking annoying. You know, we all know white people that act Black too, like this guy.
I heard that she follow me. Oh, she wants some company. I'm on my way. Yo.
Gulag. That's the only answer. We need gulag for this guy.
It's against the groove.
What in the Daytona, Florida is going on there?
You gotta get the fa on the soundboard, bro. That's my classic. That would have been a perfect moment for the William fa. You gotta get that on the soundboard. That's a solid substitute. We can work with that. That's solid.
No, but dude, his parents should go to jail. Like, this culture, who created it? Well, I think it was the Mormons created this culture. Anybody who gets around it, it's just, it's my point is that it's destructive no matter what your race is. It's like, I don't want to live around Black people, not because all Black people are bad or because there aren't some white people like that, but in general, Black people have adopted this culture to where acting Black means acting like a monkey or like an animal. And it's unfortunate because I don't want Black people to act like that. It doesn't benefit my country. Like, I don't understand the race realists out there that are just like, you know, they almost like want it. It's like, see, it's like, no, I hate this for them. I'm also not one of the civic nationalists who's like, we got to save the Blacks. I'm for my own people, really. But at the same time, like, dude, there is a real problem in our culture where, like, everybody knows you don't want to live in a Black neighborhood. And even if you're Black and you don't act Black, you don't want to live in a neighborhood too, because they look down upon Blacks who act in a way that's civil.
Well, I can listen. I certainly agree. And I think there is a middle ground between the two. I think, and I would honestly argue that I think the average conservative would fall in the middle ground of this. I think it's very rare you meet people who possess like a genuine, you know, racial hatred, like an animosity. I think the middle ground that exists between this is quite simple, which is that we have to look at the history of this, okay? Not from like this leftist, like, oh, it's systemic, you know, bullshit way, but let's look at the actual history of this. After the Civil Rights Movement, after the Civil Rights Act, which Civil Rights Act, I want to do a whole like video essay on it because it's such a deceptive name. Because when you say Civil Rights Act, it sounds like oh, everyone gets a free $1 million in a hand job act. It's like, why would you want to go against that? No, like what the actual act was not, it was a very specific thing. And what that thing was is it created protected classes. And Black people became a protected class. And so you can literally see the cultural, education, criminal drop-off of Black people. The minute the Civil Rights Act comes in, you can watch it plummet. And why is that? They become a protected class. And what that means is that now laws apply to them differently than they apply to us. Like, I'll give you a great example. Right now, there is now court and legal precedent for discrimination. Like, you can accuse a police officer of discrimination, and a court can hear that. And not only can a court hear that, there's a high likelihood that the court's going to rule in your favor. And so now you have a police force in policing crimes in these low-income neighborhoods, in these Black neighborhoods, that they're scared to do anything. They're scared to send people to prison. They're scared to send people into the system because they know they could be hit with a discrimination suit. They could be held civilly liable. And so now law is just like not being enforced. From 1965 onward, law is just straight up like not being enforced to where it needs to be on the Black community. And so times that by a few generations, and what you have created is innately a culture of violence and of criminality. It is what it is. Now, the reason why they tend towards that, I do believe in race realism in a way. I do. I think everyone does. That yes, we are different. That if we are going to truly strive to have a society wherein we can coexist in a way, we have to recognize one another as different. The problem is that right now they're being treated as a special political civil class, which is this protected class. And so it's impeding us from like properly bringing down the law. If you went to many of these black communities, brought down the hammer of the law, locked up people in gangs, locked up drug dealers, you could probably come out the other side with like a solidly okay community. It wouldn't be the most advanced because the education's not there and the sort of like development's not there, but it wouldn't be like a nightmare to live in. It wouldn't be fucking, O Block. It'd be a little bit nicer. Now, after that, if we want to develop this community of people, because one of the things I believe in, truly, and this is me, I'm an Anglo-American, I'm a heritage American, something I'm very proud of. And so I care very deeply about America. And I think it's become very clear that we can't pick these people up and mail them to Africa. Why do I say that? Because we like literally tried to. We tried that with Liberia and it went to shit very quickly. So unfortunately, we're kind of liable for these people right now. I know that's not a popular opinion, but like, it is what it is. We can't just pick them up and mail them. There's now more of them than there were back then. And it would be like, at least back then they were like Christian and like had families. Imagine shipping all of Atlanta right now to Liberia. It'd be a fucking nightmare. It would be a UN like humanitarian disaster. So we can't do that. So what's the next course of option? They have to live here. And we have to live around them because we can't just like surrender all of our cities and put a dome on top of Chicago and just hope for the best. We all want to live here. So we have to develop them because that's really what it is. Their communities are not as developed as ours. Now, it may sound harsh, but it is a fact. They are severely lacking in education, severely lacking in really any kind of social infrastructure that they could build as a community because they kind of aren't a community. They're kind of just let loose. They're this protected class. They're kind of let loose on the range. They're not really having the law brought down on them. They're not really having like school jurisdiction and truancy brought down on them. They're kind of just thrown out there. And so, is my camera on low battery? Sorry, hold 1 second. Hopefully I finish this before my camera battery dies and I got to replace it. But
so what do we do about it? What's the solution?
The solution is we need to have what is effectively like now I'm not like a Maoist, but like a cultural revolution with these people. We need to go in young. We need to criminalize heavily walking out on a kid. We need to criminalize heavy all of the small infractions that they do, stealing, shoplifting, all of that. We need to heavily enforce truancy. Heavily enforce. Listen, you got to bring your kid into the fucking school. The schools can't become your kid goes for like a class and then he's outside with Rico and Quavo and they're selling, perks to people. No, they got to go to math class, sit the fuck down and learn. We need to do all these things. We need to have a form of like cultural revolution so that we can have more people like a Candace Owens, like, a strong family unit, Christian-oriented black community that can become an actual community. And we need to remove the protected status. We got to get rid of that. We can't be doing that anymore. The law needs to be brought down in these communities. It's very simple. And I think if we were to do that, we could probably come out the other side somewhat okay. I think we could come out on the other side with at least like a tolerable community dynamic. I still think there's going to be a level of like separation. Like we're not going to want to really be like in there, but you could visit. You could go to lunch there. I think it'd be fine. I think we could set up a system where it's like, okay, we got it. We can work towards eventually someday we can maybe in the future we'll find some way to integrate in a full way. But I don't know. That's a question for our great-great-great-grandchildren, not me.
His camera's about to die. Well, anyways, we could also make abortion free for certain demographics.
All right. The Lord forgive us.
I'm totally
saying
joking.
that.
I'm totally joking. I'm
can't be saying that.
No, I'm anti-abortion actually. But I genuinely I those are all jokes, right? Obviously, we don't hate anyone. We love everyone, except for Indians, blacks, and Jews. No, I'm kidding. Okay, but no, I'm totally joking. That's what they want us to say. But I actually want to solve the issue. And the thing is we need people on our team. Because I was going to say, like, people say that we post a lot of negative stuff here. And, I saw this video and I thought it was really interesting because I kind of want to end on a positive note. Not everybody's destroyed. Like, watch this.
1, 2, 3. I would like a ring, I would like a ring, I would like a diamond ring on my wedding finger. I would like a big and shiny diamond that I can wave around and talk about it. And when the day is through, give me God that I can never doubt it. To death I do I. These men is testing me. Help me, Lord.
Anyways, there's like some white.
They were always very good at music. They were always you can't deny that. They were always very good at music.
Right. I'm just saying like not everybody acts like ghetto, and some white people act ghetto. It's not just a singular problem, but we do have problems. And I think a lot of us are tired of having to lie about it, right? We don't want to lie anymore. I'm tired of lying to myself. I'm tired of lying to the public. There are real problems and we need to solve them. Don't forget, guys, if you want to support the show, you can support at ElijahSchaffer.locals.com. It's a great way to join and support the show. You can also, if you haven't already, make sure that you pick up some Blackout Coffee at blackoutcoffee.com/rift. If you watch the replay, guys, this whole network is like going to be changing a lot. So like, I know it's confusing now. You have all these shows up from
just treat us like the Daily Wire. Just treat us like the Daily Wire, but we're not for Israel. there you go.
Like it's confusing, but we're doing an audit this Christmas. We're going to be like organizing the channel. The problem is for some reason, Rumble to this day has never allowed you to make playlists and like organize your channel. To this day, then they give you every other upgrade except for like what we ask for, which is discoverability and organization of your channel and creator posts. There's no way to communicate with your audience, no way to organize your channel, and no way for people to find your videos. That's all people want on the
They also
on the
should
network.
probably do shorts. I don't know why they haven't done their own version of shorts.
Yeah, but it's still, they're going off, they're trying to be a live stream platform, not really a video
stupid.
platform. But I'm saying like, we've asked for basic functionality and they continually give us everything else. They're like, oh, you wanted rape videos? You're like, no, that's not what I wanted.
We got to get Crowder on the phone, bro. We got to get Crowder on the phone.
Yeah, it's like, do you want Crowder to dress up as a woman again? No. Yes, kind of. You know what I mean? Maybe. No, but I jokes aside, it's like we just want that, the functionality. But remember, sorry for you guys on the locals. Until I figure out my studio issue, we're kind of not gonna have too much exclusive content there at the time. But just know I didn't. Like somebody actually joked, they're like, every time I check in on Elijah, he's building a studio. But the thing is that I've moved 10 times in 8 years. And now I'll have moved 3 times in the last 1 year. But this time was out of necessity. I can't have my family around that. I'm not telling people where I live or where I'm moving and whatever. And we're just not going to get into that. But I will tell you on a good news, if you guys want to know an update. So we are fighting the lawsuit against Alexis Wilkins. She's continually tweeting about me. She's continually subtweeting. We uncovered a lot of tweets and things showing her with malicious defamation towards me, mocking my faith, making outrageous and absurd claims about me. And if you've noticed, I've kind of toned down a little bit on my response. It's because my legal team has just said like, hey, look, we're completely fighting this legally now. It's completely illegal. So maybe just like, don't try to pick fights right now. Cause you ever seen Indians when they get mad? Fuck you, bloody motherfucker, you. Fuck you. And so they kind of don't really handle it well. So they're basically just like, chill out for a second. But yeah, I have a full plan of action here. This was such a disgusting disregard for justice. This was a disgusting disregard for peace, for the legal system. This is so bad, guys. We potentially are able to go after her organization. I'm not going to say which one, her legal team, because this is actually a disregard for legal procedure. They actually did something that's like there was no way to even suggest malice here. And they tried to like even present her as non-public figure and things. Like it's actually a slap in the face of not just of justice, but of the entire legal system. And it was meant to intimidate and silence us. And there's going to have to be consequences for that. We're not going to be okay. I mean, we're going to ask right now, we're going to say, hey, look, if you want to drop this, we can drop it. But just know we're not going to benefit the most from dropping it. Basically, we would like, there's a lot we'd like, but for the sake of the country, it's going to embarrass the country. And I'm trying to look out for the nation. Like, you're going to embarrass the FBI. We're going to embarrass the country. And I'm not trying to make the U.S. a laughing stock, because the things that we found out we're going to be able to acquire in Discovery, it would be a bloodbath. And I mean that not in a real way, because I'm not making any threats. I mean, they said a bloodbath. They're talking about violence. No, a bloodbath just means like it's going to be crazy, right? The amount of documents that we can. And you want my dick pics? Like, what are they going to discover? You want to see my wiener? I was circumcised twice. I'll tell you now. Okay. But it's like, what do you want to see in my phone? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'll send you, you know, whatever you want. But it's like, what they want is they want my assets. They want to shut down this company. They want to bankrupt us. And it's disgusting. And we're going to keep fighting another day. And I appreciate everyone who supported us. It's been so helpful. Thank you to everyone who has donated and given of their funds to support us. There's been all these attacks going on, including people claiming that we donated to our own campaign. Look, maybe I just haven't grifted hard enough in my life, but I had multiple people accuse me of that. Like, oh, well, you know, you could have done it less anonymous than donating money. I go, dude, everyone's going to donate anonymously because it's the FBI involved. No one wants to be attached to this financially. No, I did not donate. No, that I did not ask people to donate to my thing. No, we are not working with the El Salvador government. Believe it or not, the 11 people that still watch me online can know this. I appreciate everybody who's a part of this team. Everybody who gave from $1 to, even if you watch this show, please, if you want to support, like the video, subscribe. And you know what it's shown me is like, look at this. I'm just in my dad's house. You know, I'm just chilling. I have to be here for safety reasons. In the end, yes, sets matter. Yes, we want to keep high quality, you know, shows. But like, I'm able to do this on the road, and you guys show up, and I appreciate you guys for showing up. A couple of shout outs here I just want to bring up to those of you guys who are in locals. A couple of the memes you guys have shared have been really horrifying, but I feel like we got to bring them up here. So some of the things that you guys have shared is this. Let's just go through a couple of these. Have you seen my wiener? Thank you. Yes, you have. Hello, sir. We also got this one. That's so sad. We got this as well. Yeah, literally, that's me on the road. That is literally, that's what it's like. Have you ever actually seen one of these middle things here? These hand switchers? It's really nice. You don't have to click buttons.
Oh.
It's an ergonomic, so it's like a keyboard, so you can know to cue all your stuff. It's the coolest device ever. It's like only the real G's know that. This one as well. Hashtag Grape Joey. Rape is not a laughing matter until it is. And when it comes to Joey, it's not funny, but he enjoys it. So that's just a truthful thing. Poor Joey. Joey's actually been helping me. He's been getting all the stuff moving. Shout out to Joey. It's really great. We now got him up to $15 a month. So good job for that. Down here as well. Let me see. Is there anything else? Oh, we got us. I can't believe that's real. I still can't believe he did that. That's insane. That's so insane. Also, they're selling Schindler's List for $14.88 at Walmart. That's a real thing. So
that's gotta be someone like they gotta know. That can't be. Gorhaba, let's go.
This is Kash Patel's living room.
No, I'm going next year, folks. Make sure you send super chats money so you can fund my trip to Gorhaba. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pull a Tyler Olivieri. I'm gonna go and partake in Gorhaba.
I don't. That is no. You know, he actually. You know what I was gonna say? Here's what's actually crazy is. So reason why X is crazy is like I'm actually not really like. This sounds like such a cope, and maybe it is, but like, you know, you have been around me for years, but like I've lost every platform that I've ever built. Like everything's been lost. Even like I lost my Instagram for a long time, my Facebook I lost for a long time. I've never been able to like consistently build anything or be monetized in like 10 years. And the only thing that I've consistently had is my X account. And it's like, that's wildly, you know, I do billions of impressions a month, and I have pretty good reach and stuff there. But it's like, the amount of people that follow me on X, I do see that I influence some of their stuff. And, you know, it's really nice. Like when he's going getting attacked by Indians and I can reach out, we can talk. I kind of remind myself, it's like, we can rebuild anything. And I think the fact that Rift didn't exist. In fact, even Rift was actually a different company back in January. This has only been going since like April. I think like started it in April. So it's like, we've been able to build this in like 6 months. Guys, you have no idea what's coming next. The amount of interest and investors, like, Michael Hennessy is in Australia right now, and he's like raising capital. I just got off the phone with someone. We're trying to raise 7 figures. This is huge, guys. We have a peptide company launching under Slightly Offensive. We have PatriotRx.com, a pharmaceutical company launching, and everyone's like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's the grift. It's like, guys, Literally just add a G, and that is what we are. We're the rift with the G. We're the real G riffs, which is a
like
grift.
guys, like that's what media is. Like that's the part that I hate. It's like, dude, like, yeah, if you want media that's not like super trying to sell things, trying to make money, like you either have to watch like an independent who's really, really popular, who's one person like Nick, who's able to kind of fund everything off of super chats, or you can go on YouTube where there's like AdSense money. Like, we're not going to make AdSense money. If we're going to make any money from this, we're going to have to like sell shit. And that's like the unfortunate truth of the matter. So, you know, like you can either go with, like, you can go watch like YouTube stuff that's like monetized, but it's not going to be based. It's not going to like say the stuff we're saying. It's just not. So you can watch the Daily Wire anytime you want. And even then they'll still try to sell you sponsored stuff. But, you know, if you want us to operate, you want us to be able to do shit, like, yeah, like we're gonna, like, that's what we do. And I made that post on X the other day that you retweeted, which thank you for that, where I was trying to get people to migrate from my Instagram onto my X, onto my YouTube, onto everything, because there's more monetization opportunities there. And I had people in the comments, they were like, for those who don't know, I made a video. I basically was like, I want to move some of my audience. Like, hey, if you're following me here on Instagram, go follow me here. I'm trying to, you know, move the brand up a little more. And I have people being like, oh, well, fucking, like, why don't you go get a job? I'm like, okay, this is my job. Like, this is what I like to do. This is my job. And two, like, you can't say these things. Like, I can't look at a camera live in front of all these people and say, yeah, I think it's a problem that the Israel lobby is controlling our country and that, like, Indians are flooding it and destroying every aspect of it. I can't say that and then go apply to work at a corporation. I can't do that. Like, you don't get both. You either get to look at the camera and say, Jeets are ruining everything, or you get to go on LinkedIn, which is like their domain, and like they control everything there, and you get to like apply for jobs and like be a normal human being. I've chosen the path. Honestly, it was kind of chosen for me. My video randomly blew up and now I'm here. So they chose the path for me to do this. So now you get to listen to commercials for stuff. Sorry. What do you want us to do, man? Like, that's part of the game. You don't like it? Close your ears. Or I don't know, if you do like it, buy some stuff, whatever. God bless you. We love it. But that's just the name of the game, dude. Like, that's the industry, man. What do you want?
Well, yeah, but I also don't mind it too, because what it is I always tell people, like, the truth. It's like, okay, look, the best way I could describe working in media, this is kind of like the after show. We normally do this stuff on Locals, but the thing is by the way, Locals, I think, is changing from Elijah Schaffer to Rift soon, and you're going to be able to get a code and stuff and get a portion of those signups as well, or we might move to our own payment. But if you guys saw that, by the way, we literally are going to be, I'm going for the lean look. Like, I believe, I kind of like, it sounds very gay, but I think men should be like lean and natural. Like, I don't think that look of like veiny, like, you don't want to look like a penis, like your body, you know, like you don't want to be like roided out. That's for other men. Women like natural leanness, more like that organic like look, you know, you look like an organic strawberry, not a GMO strawberry. And that's sort of what I kind of describe it as. But it's like, we want to be healthy, we want to be whole. But with media, what it is like, we exist for the next COVID. And that's why it's like, I'm not worried. Like, it's like Fuentes existed for basically the October 7th war. Like, it's like he was being honest about what was going on. And then when that war happened, then when Charlie died, he exists for the moments to where now he's able to fill those shoes. And we exist because we are not being influenced by Zionists. So whenever that next thing is, and there needs to be a network of people to come like fill the narrative, we are here with the intention of saying, we may not be as relevant in the future. We may not be, in the present, we may not be the biggest network. We may not be the most, interesting, or even have all the bells and whistles, but there's going to be a shift that's going to happen at some point. We're not going to know when it is. And everyone around is going to be full of fucking shit. Either they're going to be lying to you, or they're going to be intentionally withholding the truth. And for some reason, we're all going to be reliable, and you're going to be able to get informed and warned, and because we're going to be inside, and we're going to have all the leaks, and we're going to be here. We're going to keep having that. So we're not, because those moments you can't build. Those moments that it's impossible to raise money. The money's short. Everything's bad. We're building an infrastructure so that we can be here in the hard times. And so just because it's like an off season, it's not an election year, right? This is always the worst year for views, for everything. So it's an off year. Nobody cares. we care because I've seen it's not about the moment. We're not just trying to be and do basically nothing. That's why even when I hear Lily or I hear people that need help, I want to help them. And here's what I was going to say. Media as a job is a little bit like being with a woman. Okay. There's things of it that you want. As a guy, we all know what you want, but then you have to hang out with them too. Right.
So true. That really is how it is.
Yeah. So it's like, and then girls that don't even get the humor. I love girls like, oh, I'm sorry that you hate your wife. It's like, okay, you don't even get the joke. But the point is that, you know, in media, you just want the truth and you want the bullshit out, but we're not going to exist in that future moment if we don't exist now. We don't get to just like take a break and like only exist during the next COVID. We have to exist 24/7, 7 days a week, all year long. And it requires a lot of effort and mentality. And so sometimes, you know, it's like low effort. It's like, I'm in my room. We're just kind of keeping the content going. You know, there's 1,000 people between X, you know, Rumble and YouTube. That's not a huge audience. And then, you know, Charlie Kirk dies and we have 15,000 people watching live. And that's what we're here for. And no, we haven't found who we are. We haven't found our identity. We don't know what we're becoming, but people are interested and the right people are trying to destroy us. So we know we're doing something right because the people we hate want us to be dead, literally. And so people like Will, if you guys can support, the easiest thing to do right now is go follow Will. His links are in the description. Go follow him, go support him, go retweet his videos and start trying to support the people. I don't really need support. That's kind of like the joke. It's like, look, dude, I find ways to make money and it's, you know, every street corner is an opportunity. So, you know, it's a very, very strange time in life. And, you know, it is a very, I'm telling our own producer, our show is on. Well, it's like, hey man, could you not call while we're live on a show? So that's where we are. So let's keep the mentality. Let's keep the energy. And Will, I just was telling people, thank you guys all for sticking around. I really appreciate it. It's been a crazy world. Shout out to the people in the chat, Not Baby Hitler, Telepathic Dragon. Why don't you give a shout out to the people in the chats? Because that's what they like. People like to hear their names.
Oh yeah. Let me go on Rumble. I don't even have the
YouTube
Rumble
too.
open.
Oh, wait,
on YouTube.
Do you have the backend access to YouTube so you can be in the chat?
No, I don't have any of that. I'm on just the StreamYards, bro.
Get that from Joey so that when you're live, you can like you can go in, and also like you should regularly go in whenever anyone's live. You should log in and then like, you know, drop your links as the channel. You know, it's like good to go in whenever, like all day, just go in and drop your links. Like, yo, follow Will. You want to make that happen, but
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm seeing here in the chat. I'm seeing people commenting. Colin Doan Riddle, Not Baby Hitler, Zesty AIDS, Cokto, Cheetah Men, Aryan Thinker, Randall Flagg. I feel like I've heard that name before. Yeah, tons of people in here saying what's up. Listen, thank you for the huge promo. Yeah, no, like Elijah really kind of just like the one thing I can say about Elijah that I think would be reiterated by other people is that he really does just like put others on. Like he really has like a belief in this stuff and like puts others on major. Like there's no like Motown operation happening here. Like there's actually not a ton. There is benefit. I like to think that my content's pretty quality and there's a lot of value there that's going to be exploited soon. But like on the upfront investment, there's not a ton. Like I have views on Reels, but like there's not a ton to be like, hey, let's start dumping resources into this kid. And yet Elijah is, because Elijah just like wants to put people on. He's a very authentic and genuine actor who's already doing well for himself, but wants to put others on because he believes in this like grander movement. So that's just like, that's number one. If anyone ever doubts the authenticity there, they're either like a bad faith political actor or they're just stupid. Second, yes, make sure you give me a follow. I have my ads here, my X and my Instagram. I'm going to be basically rolling out a bunch of long form stuff with Rift very, very soon. I think we're actually probably going to have a conversation about that tomorrow or something. Going to be rolling that out. It's going to be really good. It's kind of like a more expanded, longer form version of my clips and of my, sort of short form content. So make sure you follow. Make sure you follow everybody on the Rift. I mean, Sarah Stock, Joel Webb, and everybody. I mean, Braden, everybody. Amy Dangerfield. I can say that she's right? That she's good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Her, follow everybody. Everybody's great. Like, listen, I truly do believe in the mission of the Rift. I think it's going to be like this time next year. gigantic. Like, I think it's going to be fucking huge. I really do believe that. And I have a pretty good investment track record, so I'm hopeful on that. But point is this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following up with all of us. Make sure you like, follow everything that every influencer tells you to do. Thank you for having me on, Elijah. I look forward to more appearances and streaming more. And like I announced on Twitter and then announced on my Instagram, I'm going to be streaming, just me, Vrillium, over the next few days, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on these channels. I'm doing a little Thanksgiving streamathon. So folks, make sure you tune in. It's going to be fun. It's a better chance to get to know me better, to hang out with me, to talk about me. We're going to be live. We're going to have guests. We're going to be playing games. We're going to get racist. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you follow that. Join us for all that. And if you don't, at least, hey, take a look at the clips that come out from it because I'm sure they're going to be great. And folks, thanks again for watching and all your support, etc., etc.
Awesome. Yes, the rest of you guys watching, have a great rest of the week as always. No, I actually wanted to it's actually not bad. I only am doing that because it made me feel so mad, and I don't understand the point of that. But let me actually show you something. I want to end with just a quick trailer here. This is not a joke. I told my buddy that I would share it. Ryan Mata has a new film coming out, and I wanted to end with a commercial. I mean, it's up on his page, but I want to play the like beginning here called "Never in America: Unmasking CPS's Kidnapping." This is obviously a big fear of any public figure that people are going to call CPS on your kids. Watch.
Say it's the greatest fear of parents to have their child taken from them. How in the world does it happen by force at the point of a gun?
You can't use me.
The baby, okay?
I can't.
This one really made my stomach sink.
I can't even believe this story.
Cyrus, the 10-month-old baby who's been kidnapped, stripped from his loving parents by CPS.
No, go in the car.
Cyrus.
In the car. It's all right.
It's Cyrus.
It's okay.
Cyrus.
I don't want anybody to have to endure this.
The Baby Cyrus case was the second most viral case in American history regarding CPS.
The media is not really covering this because this is, in fact, medical kidnapping.
They claim that baby Cyrus was underweight.
The kid has lost weight.
Take the baby away.
Get the baby out with CPS to the foster parents.
They were willing to release baby Cyrus to a foster family.
I won't let him go.
It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers.
There's billions of dollars to be had just from the federal government if you take the kids out.
They are profiting off of it.
There's nothing more evil, there's nothing more wicked than what I call child profiting systems.
Once a child is legally kidnapped, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse.
The most dangerous place to be for a child is in the government custody.
He literally has missed out on his childhood because of this.
In 10 months, I've never seen my grandson like this ever.
They just didn't even properly care for him.
It just looked like he was half dead.
That's the care that these animals are saying.
Protesters taking sides in a child welfare case.
We need more people out here. We need more people to stand for this.
I was extremely naive, and I thought there's no way that my son would be taken from me.
These are loving parents. They followed every instruction they were told, and they're being treated like criminals.
These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating.
No man lives in freedom if you live under the constant threat of your child being taken away from you by force.
I'll do anything for Cyrus, for my son. I'll do anything for him.
I've seen this so many times. I can't be that next person. I can't.
Yeah. So let me drop the link to this real fast in both the chats because I want to promote my friends. I was with him in El Salvador.
I love Ryan. I didn't even know that's who you're with. I love Ryan Mata's stuff. He's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
everyone go check that out.
Ryan
All his
Mata-
documentaries are great.
Ryan Mata might start producing films for Riff soon. So yeah. So
I'm
Ryan's
a big fan. I love his stuff. His what's the one he did about USAID was great. What was that one called? I'm blanking on the name, but God, it was so good. I watched the whole thing on like Twitter. I like watched the whole. It was one of the ones they put out for free, and I watched.
Was it the Niggaballs 1488, or was that a different one?
All right, folks, I'm hopping off.
All right,
I'll
guys.
catch you guys
Yeah, we'll
around.
catch you later.
God bless you all. God bless America.
God bless you all. Yes. As I always say, have a great rest of the week, as always. And may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.